If you have ADHD, you already know that traditional productivity tools don't always work for us. We don't really think in straight lines. We might get distracted very easily. And a lot of these organization systems, apps, or different tools seem either way too overwhelming to use or way too rigid for us. I'll be honest, this was kind of a hard video to make because I wanted to focus on only the best ADHD-friendly tools. And of course, there are so many different apps and tools out there, but I really wanted to narrow it down to my absolute favorite ones. So these tools are fun, easy to use, and most importantly, they don't punish you if you were to miss for a day, a week, or maybe even a year. You can just pick them up whenever you need them and you need that additional support, and there's absolutely no guilt attached. All right, let's talk about our browser tabs. You probably are very similar to me and you have an embarrassing number of tabs open right now. And you might just want to open your browser to Google one simple thing like, how long do I need to hard boil an egg? And then you see another tab open, you were reading a blog post about RSD, and wait, then you see another tab open about a half-finished YouTube video, so might as well just watch that. And then you suddenly see an email notification or an email that you're working on, and it might as well check that too. And before you know it, an hour has passed and yep, still no idea how long to boil that egg. Sounds familiar? Because definitely same. And that's why I love using the Arc browser. It actually helps you to prevent that overwhelm so you don't get lost in all that tab chaos. You can create separate spaces for your work, for personal projects, entertainment, so things don't really blend together. And that also makes it easier to not get constantly distracted and switching between like your hobbies and work. And the interface is also just super clean and distraction free, which makes it so much easier to focus, especially if you have ADHD. And one of my favorite features of Arc is that you can change the color of the browser, which might sound small, but as someone with ADHD, that little bit of novelty actually keeps me excited to use it. So maybe I'm bored of blue, I'm switching it to green, and boom, there's that instant dopamine boost. Another cool thing is that you can open two browser tabs side by side. So for example, if you're multitasking or comparing two different sources, that can come in very, very handy. And since I've been using Arc, honestly, my browser feels so much more calm and I don't get stuck in that random loop of opening up these random tabs that I opened a year ago. Let's be real, planning with ADHD can be an absolute nightmare. We either go all in, spend hours creating that perfect bullet journal, only to abandon it 2 weeks later, or we give up before we even really got started because everything already feels way too overwhelming. And that's why I love using Xtiles, which by the way is today's sponsor. So thank you so much, Xtiles. Xtiles is kind of like a bullet journal meeting Notion, but actually very, very ADHD friendly, which I love. You don't need to watch hours of YouTube videos of explanations how to actually use it. You can just sign up for it and start diving in immediately, and it's really easy to figure out how it works. It's also very visual, which is always great for someone with ADHD because we're very visual people, we're visual learners, so that usually works best for our ADHD brains. It's absolutely not overwhelming and you don't need a million different templates just to get started. You can turn your brain dumps into different to-do lists and track how far along you are on all your different projects that you're currently working on. And for me, Xtiles is such a lifesaver because it lets me capture all my ideas in my head and organize them in a way that actually makes sense for my ADHD brain. You can also use it either on your desktop or on your phone, so you can organize things however they feel easiest to you. You can sync your Google Calendar to just see all your weekly meetings and plans. You can use already their different templates, so you can either start from scratch, which is very flexible, and you can also use their templates like you can see here. They have so many different templates that you can choose from. So here are some of my favorites, or you could also create your own. They also have like a template that's like a budget tracker, which is awesome. And you can see, even if I'm using their template, you can still customize it. So you can change the color, you can change the size, like how it could be viewed. They even have like a calendar here, which is so cool. So you can already add some numbers here, and you can track like your monthly expenses. Like I want to track also the hobbies and maybe how much I'm spending for coffee, because that's usually where a lot of my money goes, my groceries. And then you can enter that here. Again, you can just customize it, which is so great. I really love using Xtiles to just brain dump all my ideas and just get a better and clear plan on where I am and where I need to go to follow up with these ideas and projects that I'm currently working on. And it really helps me to break down my week, my month, to get a better understanding of what needs to be done, what are my deadlines, what is coming up in the future. I really love using it because it's so customizable. You can change pretty much anything and everything. You can change the color, the sizing, how you want it to show up. You can kind of add your own Pinterest board and vision board to it, because you can also add pictures, which is absolutely amazing. It makes it so fun to just work with it and try it out and play around and to actually plan and organize your week, which is usually such a hard thing to do for someone with ADHD. It's honestly the most approachable and easy to use digital planner I've ever tried. And they also have a free version, so you can try it out today. You can just click the link below in the description. Huge thanks to Xtiles for sponsoring this video. We've all had the moment where we're supposed to be working on something very, very important, but somehow you're diving into Instagram Reels or watching TikTok videos. And kind of the worst part of it is that half of the time you don't even remember how we got there. That's why I love using Opal, because it doesn't block your apps completely, but it makes you pause before you're opening them up. So it adds just a distractibility delay, so you can have some time to think about it and have that extra step before opening up that distracting app. And that tiny pause just makes your brain go, oh, wait, do I actually need to check Instagram right now? Or should I be working on my very important project? And you can still open the app if you really want to, but just that extra friction helps you to be more intentional with your time and also your decisions. And it's just that gentle reminder that says, hey, didn't you have something else to do? And honestly, that's exactly what we ADHDers need. They have a 1-week free trial, and you can just try it out and play around with it to see if that's helpful. And then after that, you unfortunately have to pay for it. But honestly, at least in my opinion, it's very worth it. Now let's talk about how our ADHD brains actually work. Because if you have ADHD, you already know that your brain usually does not work in a straight line like for most other people, right? Their thoughts go from A, B to C, versus for us ADHD brains, we usually go from A to W to puppy, and then, oh, what was I actually doing? And if you ever try taking notes in a meeting or a lecture, you might notice that a lot of times you're getting completely lost because you don't know where to add it, because you're having all these either different thoughts or realizations or new ideas. So at least for me, my notes are always extremely chaotic until I found out about mind mapping, or also using that as a way to take notes, because I used mind mapping in school for like learning and studying. I always loved how visual it was, but I never really thought about using mind mapping also to take notes. And that's why I love using AYOA. That is a mind mapping tool that actually works the way our ADHD brains work. It just really helps you to visualize your thoughts so you can see how everything just connects. And it helps in meetings, it helps with studying, it helps with brainstorming or project planning without just forcing that really rigid structure on you, which most ADHDers really hate. And it helps you organize your ideas in a way that actually makes sense for you instead of trying to fit them into that traditional outline. So for example, I use AYOA to plan my YouTube videos, and it really helps me to keep track of which videos I already filmed, see which ones still need to be edited, and just organize my ideas for the future and for like future content. And the best part is it helps me to also see the bigger picture, because with ADHD it's so easy to just hyper focus on this tiny detail and then completely forget about everything else. And for AYOA, you can also see that it is very customizable. You can use all these different colors and you can change the color, which seems to be something that I really love to do, but I'm just a very visual person and colors are awesome. You don't have to make straight lines when you're doing your mind map, which for some reason I just love doing. And you can move them around. You can like always add more things to your mind map and add like another video idea, for example, or I want to think about it and then I want to make sure that this stands out, so I will format it just differently. You can move it around, which is just so helpful. And if traditional note-taking hasn't really worked for you, or kind of traditional planning, you can give the mind map a try and see if that helps you process your information better. And AYOA has a free version that you can use, and honestly, for me, I've only used the free version so far, and that's all I need. And then they also have obviously a paid version, so you could always upgrade if you also want to work with team members together and brainstorm like on the mind map together. But like I said, for me, the free version, as at least for now, is absolutely sufficient. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever reached the end of the day and thought, where did all my time even go? Or you started a task thinking, oh, this will take me 15 minutes, only to then realize 2 hours later that you're still working on this. Has that ever happened to you? Because it definitely has happened to me. So I really try to figure out how can I best understand my energy levels and understand how much time I'm spending on what project. Because as someone with ADHD, we often hugely struggle with just time management and understanding that time is passing as well. And so often we don't have a clue what we just did for the past couple of hours, or we didn't even realize that time has passed and it's already the end of the day and we still have so many to-dos on our to-do list. And that's why I love using Toggle Track. And for me, Toggle Track has really helped me to figure that out because most of us have no idea how long things actually take. And if we track how you are spending your time, so you can actually see where all your time is going, it helps you to realize which tasks take longer than you expected, which tasks might take way shorter than you're expected, and then you can plan accordingly. It also helps you with energy tracking and then scheduling and planning your week according to your different energy levels. So you can schedule your work based on when you're naturally just feeling more productive. So for example, for me, I noticed that on Mondays, I'm usually super productive because I was able to rest and recharge all weekend, and then I have all the energy and excitement to start my work on Monday. So now I schedule in my hardest tasks first thing on Monday morning, and by Friday my brain is usually just fried and done. So instead of trying to push through, I just use that time for lighter tasks or more creative projects that don't require as much focus from me. Toggle Track also has this Pomodoro timer, which is so amazing if you just need a bit more structure or if you want to visually see time passing. As most ADHDers, we are visual learners, like I already mentioned, so having a visual timer can be very, very helpful. As most of you already know, I absolutely love using my time timer to visually see time passing. But if I don't have my time timer with me, if I'm working from somewhere else, for the library or working with a friend, I also love using the Toggle Tracker Pomodoro timer. So if you're also someone who is wondering where all your time constantly goes and why some days feel so much harder and others feel so much easier, it could be helpful to start tracking your time and where you're spending your time. And you might also be surprised at what you can learn about yourself once you start tracking your time and tracking your energy levels as well. And for Toggle Tracker, they also have like obviously a paid version, but also a free version. And so far I've only been using the free version, and it works awesome, and I haven't felt the need to upgrade it. And that's it. These are my 5 favorite ADHD productivity tools I absolutely love using, and I hope this video was helpful for you. If you're struggling with productivity, just know that you're definitely not alone, and there are tools out there that actually work for your ADHD brain. And I really appreciate you sponsoring this video, and a huge thanks to Xtiles for sponsoring this video. I think this is an absolutely amazing product, especially for this community, and I'm so excited to be partnering with them. The link for the Xtiles free version is in the description, and you can find the link to all the other apps I mentioned and talked about down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more ADHD friendly content, and I will see y'all next week. Bye!